How to apply to a US university from the UK. This is Safina, and I'm about to do a 3-part series on how to apply to the US from the UK. I'm about to go into uni this September, and if you watch my college reaction video, which I uploaded previously, I reacted to some of my decisions from both the US and the UK. And a lot of you wanted to know, how do you apply? As an international student, I think it's a lot harder. And while I was applying, I was on YouTube trying to find these kind of videos, to which I couldn't find that many. So I'm going to do a 3-part series on my channel. Part 1, which is this one, pre-application. Part 2, the application. And Part 3, post-application. So I'm just going to take you through the pre-application process. And I started this around year 11 summer into lower 6th. So first and foremost, you have to take your SATs. That is the #1 priority. Put loads of energy into it. You gotta focus and put the hours in. 2 sites that I used a lot were Khan Academy and Kaplan. Did I? I mainly used Khan Academy because it has all of the preparation you really need on it, I think, personally. I didn't hire a personal tutor or anything, but I used Khan Academy's like SAT prep program on it, and you can do it. You can set your schedule for whatever time you want to practice. I recommend 3 times a week or 2 or 3 times a week. Balancing A levels makes it a lot harder as well, so you should put some time in your week to really focus on SATs as well as A levels, and it's a really hard balance to get right. But if you start in the year 11 summer, getting the SAT official practice book, I don't have it with me, but get the official book for your year, so 2019, I'm assuming for you guys, 2019 or 2018 official SAT prep book. It's a really thick ass book. You should probably invest in that, and then start off by doing 1 practice paper and finding out what your score is, and make sure you do that practice paper in an exam condition. Once you've got that, you know your base, you can only go up from there, so mark that paper. Find out what your weaknesses are. For me personally, I struggled with the comprehension part because the way the questions are phrased, they really try to get you and catch you out. But if you did GCSE English, I think it's very easy to catch up and work your way and get used to the questions. That is the #1 thing, which is where Khan Academy comes in handy because they do it in timed conditions for each question. They take you through the answer. They really explain it to you, and yeah, I mean, it's a really good tool. You should definitely get a not membership. You should definitely get an account straight away. And then when it comes to the actual exam day, I did it in lower 6th, May, which is when I really felt like more prepared to do it. When I did the first test, I thought that I would only have to do it once because I would put in so much effort into it that I wouldn't have to do it a second time because I got a good enough score. But turns out I didn't get as high as I wanted to. I was aiming for 1450 at least, but I was just shy of that mark. I got a 1430. I definitely recommend doing it a second time. I was honestly not going to do it a second time, but I'm so glad I did. And so the second time I did it was in October of my upper 6th year, which is year 13, which when I did it again, I did get an increased score, and even if it was marginal, it got me to a super score of 1450. A super score is where they take the highest scores from each section of both your SATs that you took, and then put them together into a higher combined score. So initially in my second test, I actually got a 1440, but super scored, I got a 1450. And as well as that, I took the additional essay as well, and that got me up significantly actually in the essay. 1450 is generally like the border between a fairly top uni and just a good uni. I don't know, like, yeah, I mean, it's very subjective, so I'm not sure. So yeah, so focus on the SATs in your year 12 and possibly year 13, but if you're super organized, you might get that all done in year 12, and then you can just focus on the essays, the school-specific essays in your year 13 year. Secondly, research a lot into which universities you think you'll apply to, and do this way in advance because it's a lot more difficult than UCAS for 3 reasons. Number 1, there aren't any required grades to apply to any course. Secondly, there's no limit to how many you can apply to. Thirdly, the way they accept you depends a lot on factors you can't really help, such as your background, whether you can afford it, whether you need a scholarship or financial aid. And just a warning, it's very rare for international students to get any financial aid or scholarship because I don't know, they're looking for international students who can pay up and, I don't know, take their fee, I guess. For you personally, when you're looking into universities, take into account the number of school-specific essays you're gonna have to do, because on average there's 3 per school. So do be careful of how many you want to apply to because they are very time consuming, and if you're not sure of the tone of how to write these essays, then it could get quite difficult. The location of the school, the tuition fee, a big factor that I didn't personally take into account until very late. School ranking, and that's kind of linked to how much the degree is weighted internationally. So for instance, if you want to work in the UK, is the university in the US highly recognized? Also take into account the course you want to do, although you don't necessarily have to decide anytime soon, because the beauty of US universities is they're very relaxed about your majors. You can change when you're there, or I don't know, they're a bit more open to it rather than UCAS, which you have to write a personal statement specific to the course you want to do, and that's it, that's the done deal. And also bear in mind if you're going to apply to UCAS as well, because there's a lot of work required for both. No doubt that it's a lot more for US, but for UCAS, I mean, without the support of my school, I probably wouldn't have got my personal statement done. So I don't know, use some logic into it. If you think you can handle it, I think definitely go for it, but don't take on more than you think you can handle, basically. Make sure you decide how many universities and which universities you want to apply to by the end of your year 12 summer. Sorry, my cat. I'm also looking down a lot because my iPad's right here and all my notes are there, so just sorry. If you definitely know you want to end up in the US for university, then I suggest you apply to a diverse range of universities just to be sure that you get a place at the end. So go for some reach schools, but then also have some safety schools. This is a common thing in the US that I didn't really know about. They apply to ones they know they'll get into, where their SAT scores are safely within the average, and then also some reach schools which are a bit higher tier but more unlikely to get into, but you never know, it's definitely worth taking the chance. However, if you're applying to UK and the US, then what I thought was it wouldn't be worth applying to the US if I didn't aim high, which is because it is so much more expensive. And so I applied to Columbia, UC Berkeley, UCLA, and NYU. I did think I was going to apply to 2 more schools, but as it turned out, I didn't have enough time in the end, so that's one to keep in mind. I was going to apply to University of Michigan and University of Chicago, but another thing is, if you're in the UK, there's a USA College Day event hosted by Fulbright that happens every late September in London. You can directly ask your pressing questions to the university representatives, collect brochures, find out more about the schools, and possibly even sell yourself at these fairs. The reps that are there are often the international admissions officers, so i.e. the one reviewing your application. So making yourself memorable would be the best thing to do when you're meeting them face to face, because then when they're looking at your application, they can put a face to the application. Make yourself memorable, make a good impression, because it can't hurt. They might remember you when they look at your application, and that's all this is about, really, just trying to do the right things to get that acceptance if you really want it. And then follow up by sending them an email that if they see your name and they remember you, that's a thumbs up already. They might be more inclined to accept you, basically. Next, if you've decided your universities already, like maybe the start of your year 12 summer, then definitely get started on the Common Application essay, which is the main application that is used for a lot of US universities, just like across the board. There's another one called the Coalition Application, which I didn't use, so maybe look at a different essay, different YouTube video for that, but I used the Common Application, and there were, I think, 6 options to choose from. You can start thinking about what you want to write in these essays. I think this Common Application essay is the most important out of the Common Application chunk. So start talking to your English teachers maybe on how you should approach the essay. Make it authentically you. However, that's the most important thing. Start off writing what you want to write, but having a lot of help from other people definitely does improve the essay. Getting people who know you to read it can often help make sure that your essay is like you, basically. I was very fortunate because I had a friend who was also applying to the US. She's American and she was at my school, so she really knew the ropes on how to go about applying to these universities. She had a lot of insight, experience. Her parents both were a huge help as well. She helped me throughout the essay writing process, so without her I would have been a bit lost. So I definitely recommend trying to find someone who can help you through this. I refused to pay thousands for a tutor, but I mean, if you are serious and you want to remain competitive, especially for international students, getting someone, if you know a contact, that's even better because you probably won't have to pay, or hiring a company. Often it's not thousands, it's a couple hundred for half an hour or so, but that half an hour can be crucial into making your essay a million times better. So definitely look into it. If cost is a problem, then obviously don't, because you can do it yourself, but you know, it's always worth looking into. Finally, I'd say have a long, in-depth, detailed chat about your plans to apply to the US. Firstly, with your school career counselor on how they'll be involved in the process, which they will be. They're going to be the ones sending in your transcripts, liaising with your teachers who are going to write your reports, possibly the headmaster, possibly the schools that you're going to apply to. They're going to be doing a lot, so I think get a healthy relationship with them so they'll be more inclined to help you. You need to prepare them on what they need to do and be very organized about it. You don't want to be asking them last minute. Definitely talk to your parents before you even think about all of this, on how they're going to financially support you or whether you're going to get a scholarship from somewhere else, a loan, all that. So, and also mentally prepare them for what you're about to be embarking on, because it's going to be a really busy and tough period of applications if you're doing UCAS and Common Applications. And also talk to people on the internet, because I found a lot of people who were just more than willing to help me in putting forward my application so that it's the most competitive. So volunteering, essay help sometimes, or I tweeted at a lot of people on how they got accepted, any help and tips they had for applying, and what they thought about their school. So all of this is pretty crucial while you're applying, so communication is so key across the board. So yeah, those are my 4 main points. I say 4, probably more than 4. I've tried to cover all the bases here. I've undoubtedly missed out a lot of things, so this may be more than a 3-part series, who knows. Hopefully this helped. In my next video, I'm hoping to do a video on the actual application. At the first instance, I'll probably just do the general application on the key components to any of the applications. If you want me to go into depth, I can. I can also compare the UC application with the Common Application if you would like. So I'll do a video on how to go about filling out these applications through an international student perspective. So I hope this helped. Check out my other videos. I'm not just going to be doing education videos, by the way, so like don't subscribe to me just for that, but I will be doing these every once in a while. But I enjoy doing filmmaking and photographing, so it's going to be a whole range of stuff on this channel if this helps and if people like the content, because if not, then I'll peace out. So thanks very much for watching. So subscribe, like, do whatever you want. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. That